Hey guys, today is Emily's Cooking Corner. We're back. This is our first segment because we just started doing it, obviously. But we decided to start doing recipes that are homemade and less processed. So this way, not all those chemicals that are in your normal everyday food are in ours. So today we're starting with something that's usually ultra processed. Like there's a whole bunch of ingredients on the back of the box and some of them you can't pronounce. Okay, most of them you can't pronounce, which is probably not the greatest thing for you in the world. So I am doing Cheez-itz. I'm starting with my cheese, obviously. So let's get started on that. I have a recipe that I got offline that was from somebody who's already on this track, the homesteading track, and wanted to do homemade as well without the preservatives and all that in it. So I'm using her recipe today, and then once I'm done with it, usually I try and alter it to my taste so it becomes my recipe and just do the little things. So I'm doing that today. So I'm gonna start with her recipe and then try it, see how it comes out. If there's some things I wanna add or change, I'll do that afterwards. And so probably most likely what I'll do is I'll make this recipe and then probably a week or so from now, after I've kind of thought about it, molded over, figured out what I want to add and change, I'll do it again with like the updated. I mean, sometimes the recipe is really good as it is, so I just add like a slight bit more of cheese, or I'll just take like a little bit of something out of there so that it's not quite as much. Other times it's drastic and I change the entire thing. It kind of just depends on how I feel and how the recipe came out. So let's try it. First off, I grated cheese. Her recipe calls for 6 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese, and it has to be like freshly grated, which is why I have this little thing right here. It's a new tool my mom got me. It like does the whole grating for you as I'm using cheese from the grating process, and it like sticks to your counter, so it locks and everything, so it doesn't move. It's really cool. I'm in love with it, and I didn't have to do it by hand and hurt my fingers, so that was nice. So I'm gonna end up putting both my cheese in here. Cheese also calls for cornstarch and flour. So we are gonna get in here and do 1 cup, somewhat leveled off, and we're just gonna dump it in there. Okay, so 1 cup flour. So of this, we need a 1.5 teaspoons. So find my 1 teaspoon. Try to do a leveled off amount. 1 and my 1/2 teaspoon. Perfect. Got that in there. Now, it's supposed to pulsate now, but because I have to add butter in afterwards, and it only has to pulsate for about 30 seconds, I'm gonna get the butter out now. I cut that down. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It says in cubes, so I'm going to unravel this and cut it in the paper that way. Okay, so we have the cheddar cheese, the flour, and the cornstarch in here. I do need a little bit of salt. Now I only need a 1/4 teaspoon. Don't need very much of that. 1/8 and 1/4. Okay, so cheddar cheese, flour, cornstarch, salt, in food processor. Put this in here. Make sure it's locked. Make sure the piece is on so it doesn't come flying out at us, right? And then we're gonna combine for about 30 seconds. So I'm gonna put this on low. It's gonna be loud. So take this off. Yeah, it looks combined to me. So we're gonna add the butter. It just came out of the fridge, so it's cold, not warm, because then if it's warm, I'm guessing it's probably not gonna look sandy. It's gonna be more like a mush, and we don't want it to be a mush. So I'm gonna add the butter. Now my hands are all buttery. Okay. Get this lid back on. Right? Okay, and then it says, so for this now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna process it until it resembles sand, but it says about 20 seconds. So, low again. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed that, but I actually pressed a button a little bit partially way through because it seemed like it wasn't doing the job to me. So I ended up putting it on high for a few seconds. So I'm going to take a knife. And some of it looks like the sandiness, other parts of it looks a little crumbly to me still. I don't think it's enough processed personally. I think it probably needs more time. So I think I'm gonna do an extra 10 seconds and see if that changes anything. And then move on. So we'll go high again. Okay. So take that off. And actually I think it did do something because it looks a lot more sandy to me now. All the way through, it doesn't look as much like it was powder. So I think that extra 10 seconds did me some good because I started off on low instead of high. So I think that was my problem because it didn't specify. So now I know for next time, just start off on high once I add the butter. So that looks kind of sandy to me. I mean, it's still a little crumbly, but it's sandy. And it's not supposed to be like super thick as far as I can tell. All right, now it says add water and pulse until the dough forms large clumps, about 10 pulses. And it says 2 tablespoons of cold water. So I put 2 tablespoons of water in my like 1.5 cup measure, just so I can add slowly and I don't have to try and do the little teeny tiny guys in here and make a mess. So we're gonna start with a little bit, like half the water. Pulse, and I think I'll add the last little bit of it. Cool. All right, so as it said, it did start to form a dough-like substance. So it did work, thank goodness. So that's really cool. I mean, look at that, that's dough. That's cool, right? Alrighty, so now we are gonna set that aside for just over a little bit because I need it to move for a second. I'm gonna clean up my workspace because it is a mess. I don't know if you can see that, but it's horrible. Yeah, it's bad. So, clean. All right, now it says that we have to transfer the dough to a lightly floured work surface. So, I'm gonna do this. Like I said earlier, I already washed off this counter, so it's already clean. So I'm just gonna add a little flour so it's nice and floury. And we're gonna transfer our dough. Perfect. So now all of our cheesiness is here like this, so we can figure out it's half. I'd say that's about half. There, put that back in there for a second. It says pat each into a square with my hands, not a roller. I think that's as square as it's gonna get. It's more like a rectangle at this point, because I can't. Yeah, it's a rectangle. It is what it is. So now we're gonna carefully put it in plastic wrap, which I feel like that's gonna be really fun to try and do. Ugh, it came out. Happened. Cool. Now it doesn't go. I need more plastic wrap. This time we're not gonna let it come out the box. There we go. Got it. Yay. Okay. I feel like this time I could probably just do it like that. Yay! Okay, it worked out. Yay! Now I didn't say to make it into like a circle, it said flatten it, so I'm leaving it like this. I hope that's the way that she expects it to go into the fridge, and because she didn't specify in her recipe. But yay! Look at that. I know it looks weird, but we'll see how it tastes. Alright, so I'm gonna put this one aside. We still have one more to do. Okay. I'm trying to make it a square before I even put it down, because then as I knead it out, I'm trying to take that square shape instead of a circular shape. I feel like that's as smooth as it's gonna get. Let's see, can I get it off without, oh I can, cool, okay. That was the magic thing, put more flour down. Okay, so Here we go with the cling wrap again. Okay, live and learn. Yay. I know, I got the second one. So, that one. Yeah, the second one was a lot smaller than the first one. I may have made the first one a little bit too thick. Or I mean, a little bit too thin. So I don't know if you can tell, but like, it's, yeah. All right, for each for 45 minutes. Okay, and we're back. Oh, dog move. Okay, sorry, the dog was in my way. So, it's been 45 minutes, so actually a little bit over because I was doing stuff. As you can see in the crock pot over here, I was doing another recipe. So, we're going to get this out of the plastic. Okay, so it says you're supposed to roll this out a little bit more. My first time. Let's cut it. I'm a handy duty knife. Okay, so it says we're gonna do like this. So these are mostly squares. There. Ish. Okay. I have these like skewers. I'm gonna use those to poke a hole in the center of each of them, like you see in the store. Alrighty, so I think what I might do to make it easier for myself is take these off because I don't need these extra pieces in here. Okay, now I'm gonna just transfer this whole thing onto this pan, and then I'm just gonna take and spread them out a little.
Well, Gabby is very cranky with Charlie.
Okay, so first pan of Cheez-itz came out, right? I didn't show you pulling them out because I was on the phone and I can't record well on the phone. But I also knew that I was gonna do a second pan of them, so I didn't think it was a big deal. As you can see, these ones are really thick, like they're really thick. And they kind of don't look exactly like a Cheez-it's supposed to, because Cheez-it's supposed to be really thin, so I don't think I rolled it out enough. But I did try them. The aftertaste tastes like Cheez-it's, but the original taste kind of tastes a little bit more like it's dough and slightly overdone. So these ones are okay, but they're not very good because I didn't thin them out enough for baking purposes, and I didn't put any salt on them because I wanted to see how they tasted with and without salt. I think salt's a good idea. I think it'll accent the flavor really well. So I'm gonna get the other one out that was a thinner to begin with because I had rolled it out more. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna roll it out even more and get it really, really thin, or as much as I possibly can. I don't care if I have to start pounding on it to get it to like thin out. I'm gonna get it to thin out, bake it with some salt, and see how they taste afterwards. But these ones aren't horrible. They're just not great because they're too thick. Yes. Okay, now I'm getting to the point where it doesn't want to like stay. So I don't think I can do too much more with it, otherwise the structural integrity will not be there. Okay, so how are we gonna do this here? I think we've got squares, people. Alright, move these back over here because now I need a place to be able to put these squares once I'm done. Okay, now take my skewer because I'm still using that. Okay, finally done. That took a lot of work and effort. Second time around, it's gonna be easier. I'm gonna use this. sea salt. There we go. The finished product.
I hope you enjoyed this recipe. See you next time.